Hi guys, so this is part 10 of What If Yugi, Jaden, Yusei, and Yuma was in Arc V. So let's start. Chapter 11, 5DS, Part 1. No! Yusei! Sergei's going to kill him! Rin cried out. Actually, from the way that bastard talked, I think he plans for both of them to go down. But hell if I let that happen. Hang on, Rin! Yugo warned as he sped to catch up with Yusei and Sergei. Yugo! What are you doing? Rin yelled, holding on to him for dear life. Yugo didn't answer, trying to focus all his attention on saving their new friend. As hard as he tried, Yusei couldn't break free. He cursed for letting this happen. Sergei continued his insane laughter as they neared the edge. Yes! Now this shall be beautiful. Just as they were both about to go over, Yugo rammed his D-wheel into Sergei's to force him away from Yusei. This collision actually caused all three vehicles to fly off the bridge at the same time. During the free fall, Sergei did separate from them, still laughing as he fell. Yusei, seeing Yugo and Rin now falling beside him, reached out to them with his right hand. Yugo then reached out with his right. The moment Yusei grabbed Yugo, a few things happened all at once. First, a red mark shaped like a dragon's head started glowing on Yusei's right arm. Then Yugo's eyes glowed green and began to scream in pain. Rin's bracelet began to glow bright green as well as she continued to hold on to Yugo. And lastly, all three were consumed by a massive crimson-colored dragon that came out of the sky, and then they were gone. All was quiet once again in the city. Inside the giant creature, on the other hand, things couldn't have been more intense. Within the beast, Yusei and the two teens appeared to be in a black space with flashing stars passing by. They didn't have time to gaze, for one of them was in great pain. Yugo was still screaming terribly, like he was having the life ripped out of him. He held a hand over his heart as he screamed, while the other was being held firmly by Yusei. Yugo's eyes continued to glow green as this was happening. He was also struggling to break free, but Yusei held him tight. As she held on to her friend, Rin noticed that the bracelet she was wearing was also giving off a green glow, but in a brighter tone than Yugo's eyes. She also saw the red mark on Yusei's arm. Both of those, however, paled in comparison to her concern with Yugo's condition. Yugo? Can you hear me? Yugo? Her friend did not seem to hear her as his screaming persisted. Rin then turned to Yusei. Yusei? Where are we? What the hell's wrong with Yugo? Although surprised and confused at first, Yusei quickly understood their situation. Seeing both his mark and Rin's bracelet glow after the two of them coming into contact with Yugo somehow told him what needed to be done. Rin, listen to me. No matter what, don't release Yugo. We both have to keep hold of him until it's over. Until what is over? What are you talking about? Rin yelled, starting to sound angry. Yusei remained calm as he tried to reassure her. You must trust me. I promise, Yugo will be alright. Just don't let go. He instructed. Although scared as hell and extremely confused, Rin did as he said and kept a firm hold on her friend. At this point, Yugo was now covered by the green light of Rin's bracelet. Before long, Rin and Yusei heard a roar from above and looked up. It was the Crimson Dragon itself, and it was coming straight for them. Yusei saw that Rin was about to cover Yugo, scared for her friend's life. Rin! Don't move! Let it come to Yugo. Rin looked at him like he had lost his marbles. Are you insane? That thing is going to kill him. She argued. It won't harm him. Trust me. He told her again. As much as she didn't like it, she backed off as he instructed. As she did, the Crimson Dragon had reached them and grabbed Yugo with its front claws. His screaming intensified as the creature began to pull something out of Yugo. Rin's eyes widened with fear and gasped as she saw a dark form being forcibly removed from Yugo's body. Soon the darkness took on the appearance of a dragon with the same dark glowing eyes as Yugo. What in the world? She said, horror-struck by the sight before her. That dark dragon, it must be Zark's soul fragment inside Yugo. Yusei guessed. He and Rin watched the crimson dragon firmly grip the dark dragon with all four of its claws before biting it hard in the neck. Both the dark beast and Yugo screamed excruciatingly from the attack. As the crimson dragon continued to bite down, the dark dragon's body started to crack up. A dark red glow shone through the cracks that appeared from the beast's head to its ferocious tail. All the while, it still struggled to get loose, but it was no good. The crimson dragon had no intention of releasing the malevolent creature. Before long, the dark dragon gave off one final defiant roar as it disintegrated in an explosion of dark red light. As this happened, Yugo stopped screaming and his eyes became normal again before he fell unconscious on Rin's lap. Yugo! Rin yelled as she held him tight. Yusei was glad and pleasantly surprised that this had occurred. With its task done, the crimson dragon roared in triumph and touched the tip of its tail to Rin's bracelet before she could do anything. It glowed even brighter, completely obscuring everything in the area, including Yusei, Rin, and Yugo. The next thing Yusei saw, he, the teens, and both their D-wheels were in a town square plaza in the night. He recognized the place instantly. He couldn't believe it, they had arrived in his world. I'm home. We've made it. But how? I thought we needed Astral's airship to travel between worlds? How did we? He looked down at the mark on his right arm, which had finally stopped glowing. He then remembered the crimson dragon touching Rin's bracelet before arriving here. Could it be? He asked himself softly as he heard Rin speaking again. Yusei? What happened? Where are we? And is Yugo okay? The girl asked frantically. Yusei then went over and checked their friend. He was pleased that he still had a heartbeat and a pulse. Yugo is fine. He just needs to sleep now. Rin smiled as she looked down at Yugo. But she still had questions, and she didn't take long to demand them. I'm glad Yugo is alright, but I'm still confused as hell. Where are we? How did we get here? Why did my bracelet glow? What's the deal with that mark on your arm? What were those dragons we both saw? Finally, what the freaking hell did they do to Yugo? Rin asked rapidly in anger and worry. She stopped to catch her breath. Yusei understood her frustration and need for answers. We are actually in my home. That apartment building is where I live. Yusei said, pointing to a small building not far from where they were. Once we're inside, I'll tell you what just happened. Yusei promised. Rin nodded as she and Yusei began to pick up Yugo. Oi! Yusei! Yusei and Rin turned to see a young man with spiked-up orange hair wearing a sleeveless vest and other biker clothes. He was running up to them, looking concerned. Crow! Yusei said, glad to see his old friend. You know him? Rin asked, weary. It's okay. Crow Hogan is one of my oldest friends. We grew up together. Yusei explained as Crow reached them. Hey, about time you got back, buddy. I was wondering if you somehow preferred that world over ours. Yusei grinned. Never. He said as the two of them laughed. Rin had no idea what Crow meant when he said that world. Crow then finally noticed the two new arrivals. Let me guess, Yugo and Rin? Crow asked. The girl nodded. I'm Rin, and this is Yugo. He's not hurt or anything. Just out cold. Rin said, explaining why Yugo wasn't awake. It's kind of a long story. Crow nodded. Glad to know you're both okay. Yusei told me about you too before he left. Name's Crow. I guess I'm the first to say welcome to our world. He said with a chuckle. Rin couldn't help but join in, even though she had no idea what he was talking about. Still, he seemed like a good person, plus Yusei did say they were friends. Can I give you guys a hand? Yes, please. Rin said appreciatively. Crow picked up Yugo and carried him inside the apartment, while Yusei and Rin brought their respective D-wheels into the garage. Crow took Yugo to a vacant room and laid him on the bed. Rin liked the look of the place as she gazed around. Yugo is sleeping in our third roommate's bedroom. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. Crow said as he came back. Rin thanked him. As she and Yusei parked their D-wheels, she noticed another D-wheel near where Yusei parked his. Is that your D-wheel, Crow? Crow smirked. Sure is. The Blackbird is my pride and joy. The older teen said as he looked over at the black-colored vehicle that seemed to have folded wings. Blackbird? You named it? Rin asked. She was surprised to see Crow suddenly look somber. Actually, I didn't. It originally belonged to an old friend of mine named Robert Pearson. He died a while ago in a big fire. I tried to save him, but... He stopped talking as he lowered his head and closed his eyes. Rin covered her mouth. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Rin apologized. Crow then shook his head. Ah, don't worry about it. It's ancient history. He left it to me, among a few other things. Crow said vaguely. Anyways, Yusei. Crow said, getting Yusei's attention. Didn't you say that a giant ship was supposed to drop you guys off here? 'Cause I didn't see a ship, just the Crimson Dragon soaring out of the sky. Ship? Crimson Dragon? Rin asked, not knowing what Crow was talking about. She then recalled one of the dragons that she saw on their way to Yusei's home. The one that was crimson-colored and destroyed the dark one that came out of Yugo. There was an unexpected change in plans. Yusei said. Before he could explain more, the front door to their apartment had burst open. Yusei. 3 more people came in to join the group. One was a tall young woman about the same age as Yusei with dark burgundy hair and an almost gothic outfit. The other 2 were twin children with green hair. The first one, a boy, had his hair in a small ponytail. The other twin was a girl with her hair in 2 pigtails. All 3 seemed glad that Yusei had retuned. More friends? Rin asked. Oh yeah. Crow said. Yusei was then hugged by the small twins first, and then by the older woman. Hey Aki, Rua, Ruka. I missed all of you. Yusei said, both happy and surprised to see his other friends. We knew you came back. We all felt it. Through our birthmarks. Rua, the twin boy, said excitedly as he pointed at a mark the shape of a heart on his arm. The 2 girls then showed their own marks, each resembling a dragon claw. The older girl's mark was much bigger than the one younger girl had. Rin wondered what all those marks meant and how they let them know Yusei had returned. We came here as soon as we realized it, said Ruka, the twin girl, with a big smile. We missed you too, Yusei. We all did. The older woman, Aki, said softly. Rin noticed a certain twinkle in her eye the moment she saw him and smiled a bit. She then noticed her at last. Who's that? The twins saw Rin as well, with the boy blushing and seeing hearts upon seeing her. This is Rin, the girl I told all of you about. Rin, meet Aki Azaoi, Rua, and his sister Ruka. Yusei introduced. Hi. Rin said politely as she bowed. Nice to meet you all. Hi Rin. Ruka said. Hi. Rua stammered a bit and appeared awkward. Rin thought he was a little shy, but didn't seem to mind. Welcome Rin. Aki said. She then looked around but didn't see anyone else other than Crow. Wait. Wasn't there a boy that was supposed to be with her? She asked Yusei. Yugo? He's here too, but he's sleeping in Jack's room right now. He's been through a lot tonight and we should let him rest. Yusei answered. What do you mean? What happened to him? Ruka asked, sounding concerned. I still like to know that myself. Rin said, now sounding impatient as she placed her hands on her hips. Yusei then turned to her. Rin, remember me telling Yugo that he and Yuri shared a deep connection? He asked, with Rin nodding in response. Well, that connection has to do with a powerful evil that slept within both of them. Evil? What evil? You mean that black dragon thing that came out from inside Yugo? Rin said, sounding scared for her childhood friend. I'll explain it in more detail later, but yes. It was harming him, but the other creature you saw, the Crimson Dragon, extracted the dark dragon from Yugo's soul and disintegrated it. Yugo's life is no longer in danger from it. Yusei explained, further assuring her that Yugo would be fine. How did it do that? And how was my bracelet involved? Rin asked as she held up her bracelet. Your bracelet also had a connection to that darkness, but a different kind. Its power helped the Crimson Dragon destroy that evil within Yugo. Yusei said. He made himself a mental note to bring this up when he and the others get their meeting underway. That Crimson Dragon, just what is it? And what does it have to do with all those marks you have? Rin inquired, pointing at everyone. With a nod from Yusei, everyone showed Rin their marks. Crow's mark looked just like the end of the Crimson Dragon's tail, the part that touched Rin's bracelet. Yusei then told her the story. These are the dragon birthmarks of the signers. Every 5,000 years, a benevolent entity known as the Crimson Dragon would choose certain individuals to be given its power, through these marks. These signers would use their power to save the world from a great darkness that threatened to destroy the world. My friends and I are the most recent signers to be chosen. Originally, there were 5 of us from the start. Now there's 6. And you're looking at the newest one. Rua said proudly, showing off his mark in a way to impress Rin. This made his twin sister sigh in annoyance. Rin seemed in awe of the tale. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to tell Yugo all this when he wakes up. But wait, she then counted everyone aside from herself. If there are 6 of you, then where is the last one? He's out of town on a training trip. Crow said. But like us, he had to have felt Yusei's return through his birthmark too. He'll probably be back sometime late tomorrow afternoon at the earliest if he's already on his way. Aki guessed. Maybe by then, Yugo will have woken up. I can't wait to meet him. Ruka said eagerly. Yusei smiled too. He looked forward to seeing Rin and Yugo meet that signer when he showed up. I think you all will like him. He's a bit crude and annoying, but he's a good guy overall. Rin said with a laugh. This got a laugh from several of the others too. By the way, who is the signer that isn't here? She asked. Oh, he's. Rua started to answer, but stopped when he heard a cough from his sister, who also gave him a look that said don't tell her. He then remembered that he wasn't supposed to say anything to the new arrivals about him until he returned. Rin didn't seem to notice this subtlety. He's someone I think you and Yugo will take a liking to, he said quickly before turning to Yusei. So Yusei, tell us about that world you went to. What happened there? Rua asked, more than eager to hear the tale of how Yusei found Yugo and Rin and how he helped them escape Leo Akaba's grasp. Yusei recounted the whole thing, from watching over the Synchro pair to knocking out Yuri, and finally the incident with Sergei at the bridge. Everyone gasped when they heard Yusei say they all fell. That damn psycho. I can't believe he tried to kill you. Crow exclaimed in anger. I'm glad the Crimson Dragon saved all of you. But how did it bring you back here without Astral's ship? Ruka asked. Astral? Rin asked. He's a friend from another world. Yusei told her before addressing the others. My original plan was for the three of us to ride out of the city, just far enough that I could contact Astral with my dual disc to pick us up and bring us back here. Sergei's interference changed that. As for how we got back, my guess is that when the Crimson Dragon touched Rin's bracelet with its tail, it gained the ability to travel to my world. Incredible. I knew the Crimson Dragon could travel across time, but I didn't know it could borrow other powers to use as its own. Aki said in awe. Travel across time? And why do you keep talking about other worlds? Rin said, confused. I'll leave that explanation for tomorrow. Right now, I need to give Astral and his friend Yuma a message saying that I've returned here safely with you and Yugo. Yusei said. As he detached a dual disc from his D-wheel and began typing in his message, Rin asked him one more question she needed an answer for. Yusei, you still haven't told me why that guy, Leo Akaba, tried to have me kidnapped. What does he want with me? Rin asked. Crow and the others looked apprehensive. Yusei paused in typing and gave the teen girl a hard look. Years ago, he lost his only daughter. He has come up with a plan to resurrect her, and you are a part of it. However, the process of reviving her would kill you. I couldn't allow that. Yusei answered before resumed making his message. Rin stood horrified by the revelation. Kill me? Seriously? I thought he was just some sick pervert who had a thing for teenage girls. But this? Why would he choose me? Rin couldn't understand why she of all people was chosen for Leo Akaba's insane plans. She suspected Yusei knows more than he's told her and Yugo, but she honestly didn't want to learn more right now, not after this. After a moment, Rin calmed herself, knowing she was fine thanks to Yusei. She then tried to stifle a yawn. Crow, however, noticed. Alright, it's bedtime for you. From what we've all heard, you and your boyfriend had a hell of a night. You both need some serious shut-eye. Rin went red in the face. Boyfriend? You mean Yugo? No way. He's not my boyfriend. We're more like brother and sister. We grew up together in an orphanage. There's nothing going on between us, okay? Rin shouted, sounding slightly embarrassed. Crow only snickered. Whatever you say. Now let's find you some PJs and a place to sleep. He said, still smiling at Rin's reaction. Hearing her outburst regarding Yugo made Rua feel more hopeful with his chances with her. That is, until Ruka pulled him away from earshot. What? What is it, Ruka? Rua asked, puzzled by being pulled away like that. Rua, listen to me for a second. Don't get any ideas about Rin. She's too old for you. Plus, from what we've just heard, Yugo sounds a lot like you, and she sees him as a brother to look after. You're not boyfriend material for her. Like Rin, her older brother also went red upon and started to overreact. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said a thing about wanting to be her boyfriend. He whispered frantically, so that Rin couldn't hear him. Ruka crossed her arms, not buying a word of it. Oh come on, it's so obvious. The way you were looking at her and attempting to impress her earlier. You have a serious crush on Rin. We are twins, remember, and I know you. You can't hide something like this from me. Ruka retorted. Rua grunted and turned away, still in denial. You got it all wrong. He said before walking away to pretend to examine Yugo's D-wheel, though not without sneaking a glance or two at Rin along the way. Ruka shook her head and sighed. Rua has his first crush, doesn't he? Aki asked as she approached Ruka. Looks that way. He does know that Rin and Yugo's stay is only temporary. He's just going to get hurt in the end. Ruka said, concerned for her brother's feelings. Aki only smiled. He can't help it, Ruka. Rin is a cute girl, you know. One day, you'll start crushing on some cute boy. Not a chance. Ruka said defiantly, making Aki giggle. That night, after Aki and the twins left, Rin slept on a sleeping bag in the room Yugo was sleeping in. She insisted she wanted to be there when he woke up the next morning. However, as the new day came, Yugo still slept on. Even the smell of a hot breakfast didn't make the boy stir. Rin sighed. This usually worked when Yugo slept late. Having that thing ripped out must have taken more out of him than I thought. Rin said, now starting to worry more about him. Don't worry so much. Yugo will wake up when he wakes up. Until then, who wants some eggs and French toast? Crow called out as he served breakfast. Aki, Rua, and Ruka had joined him, Yusei, and Rin while he was cooking. They were about to eat when someone actually answered Crow's breakfast announcement. I sure as hell do, called a new voice from near the garage. Rin and the signers turned to see Yugo, finally awake. Oh, morning Rin. Glad you're okay, Yugo said happily. Yugo, how are you feeling? Rin asked as she got out of her chair and hugged him, happy he was up and about again. My body still kinda aches and I'm starving. Other than that, I'm right as rain, he said with a smile. Rin then suddenly frowned. Good, she said, right before she punched him in the gut. Everyone stared in shock as Yugo fell to his knees, hands over his stomach and feeling the breath literally knocked out of him. No one said a word as they watched. Rin? What the hell? Yugo barely breathed as he gasped for air. Rin now looked pissed, like a mother punishing her child for doing something they did wrong. You idiot! You nearly got us killed by that stunt you pulled on the bridge. That was by far the stupidest thing you have ever done, Rin said angrily. Yugo started to recover as he straightened up. Rin, I was trying to save Yusei, he reasoned. In doing so, you sent all of us falling nearly to our deaths. We were lucky to have survived that. I had to do something. What was I supposed to do, let Sergei kill him? Yugo argued. Well, of course not. But still. Rin? Don't you think he's had enough? All of you did get out of that mess alive, didn't you? Rua tried to reason. Stay out of this, Rua. This is between me and Yugo. Rin snapped at him. Rua quickly turned away and just stared down at his empty plate. He suddenly didn't think Rin looked cute anymore. Rin, enough, Yusei said firmly. Yugo did what he thought he had to do to save me. It may have been reckless, but it's in the past now. Please let it go and move on. At his words, Rin finally calmed down and looked back at Yugo. Yugo, I'm sorry I hit you. Yusei's right. Let's just forget about it and eat something. This immediately cheered him up. Oh yeah. Chow time, Yugo said in praise as he and Rin took seats at the table. After introducing him to everyone, Rin filled Yugo in on what he missed and what she herself learned regarding him, Yusei, and his friends. She did not, however, share the details of why Leo Akaba was after her. When Yugo noticed this and asked, she simply told him she wasn't feeling up to telling him yet. Seeing how Rin really didn't want to discuss it, he let that subject drop for the time being. Although initially scared that he had an evil dragon living inside him, he was very relieved to learn Yusei got rid of it with the help of Rin and the Crimson Dragon. He was awed from every detail. Holy crap! All that sounds beyond awesome. He then turned to Yusei. Thanks for saving our butts last night, Yusei. Yusei shook his head. It was really the Crimson Dragon that saved us from that fall, and you from the darkness that was attacking you, he said modestly. Hey man, don't sell yourself short. You still helped to save us, even if that Crimson Dragon did do most of the work, Yugo said. Don't mind Yusei. He's very modest, Aki replied. As the Synchro pair got to know everyone, one person at the table hardly said a word. Yugo noticed this when he saw Rua slowly eating his toast. Hey, Rua? You don't look so good. What's up? Rua didn't look up. Nothing, he said quietly. Ruka knew what it must be. I don't think he liked being yelled at by his crush, she said bluntly, which kinda surprised Yugo and Rin. Rua turned to his sister, panic-stricken. Ruka! Leave me alone. I said nothing of the sort. He shouted, red-faced and sweated from embarrassment. He instantly got out of his seat and moved to Yusei's D-wheel, leaning against it with his back to everyone. All the while, he still avoided eye contact from said crush. To Rua's surprise, Yugo laughed. Oh, don't dwell on it. Rin yells at me lots of times. She just worries too much. You'd get used to it. This didn't really help the boy, still looking away. Seeing this, Rin got up and walked to him. Rua? She said tentatively as she stood next to him, getting his attention. He still didn't look at her. She sighed before continuing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped at you. I was really mad at Yugo and I took out some of my anger on you. That was wrong and you didn't deserve it. Can you please look me in the eye and forgive me? She asked kindly. Reluctantly, Rua slowly turned back around and faced Rin. He looked uncertain. You really mean it? He asked, still sounding a little hurt. Rin smiled as she hugged him. Of course I do. And also, I'm flattered that you have a crush on me, she said softly. Rua blushed before looking away again. Ruka said that, not me. But yeah, I forgive you, he muttered, making Rin laugh. Thank you. Also, just because you didn't say it doesn't mean it's not true, she whispered before heading back to the table. So, everything cool between you two? Yugo asked. Yeah, we're cool, Rin replied as Rua also returned, now noticeably more cheerful. After breakfast, Yusei decided to give Yugo and Rin a tour of Neo Domino City, with the twins accompanying them. Aki left cause she had plans with her parents, while Crow stayed behind to look after the place. On their D-wheels, Yusei led the group in front, with Yugo and Rin riding on his left and the twins on the right. The synchro pair were surprised to see the D-boards the kids were riding. They're so cool. This way, kids can have riding duels without D-wheels. I wish we had those where we came from, Rin commented. The thing is, we're the only ones right now who have them, Ruka said. Yusei made mine, and Ruka got hers from someone else, Rua said, not comfortable with mentioning who gave Ruka her board. Rin didn't press the issue as she was more interested in the similarities and differences between the world she and Yugo came from and the world they are in now. So, at breakfast you said Yugo and I left our world and traveled to your world? A world totally different from ours? Rin asked curiously. We did. Our worlds are nowhere near each other. A barrier keeps them separated. The ship we were supposed to use could bypass that barrier without causing problems. Believe it or not, the way things currently are in your world were how ours used to be, Yusei explained. Really? Were our worlds the same somehow? Yugo asked. Yusei thought back to how everything began in his life. Many years ago, when I was very young, a disaster called Zero Reverse destroyed much of this city. It became divided into Neo Domino City, where the more wealthy people lived, and the Satellite District, where I grew up in with Crow and other orphans. The people in Satellite were treated the same way as the commons in your world. We had poor resources and the living conditions were pitiful. You could say it felt like living in a massive junkyard, which was kind of how the place looked. Yugo and Rin were sad that their new friend had grown up in such an environment and was treated as horribly as they were. My gosh, Yusei. That actually sounds worse than how we lived, Rin said sympathetically. Damn man. But obviously, you don't live that way anymore. What changed everything? Yugo asked. Yusei then pointed at a massive bridge stretching across the water. See that? That's the Deadless Bridge. Construction began years after the Zero Reverse incident by a very unique man. Through time and various obstacles, the bridge was finally completed, allowing the two places to become one once more. After that, life changed for everyone. Now everyone is treated more equally and there's hardly any discrimination left at all. We all became one in mind and heart. Yusei said, grateful for the positive changes for the place he called home. That's one awesome story. Yugo said, truly touched by the tale. Rin actually had a tear in her eye. I wish we changed things in our world too. Maybe someday, you can. Yusei said with encouragement. Yugo and Rin also hoped they could make their world a better place like Yusei's world. They then discussed where the duo would stay while they were here. Maybe we can crash at your place? Yugo suggested. I wish you could, but we don't quite have the room for 5 people. When our other friend comes back, you won't have a place to sleep in. Yusei answered regretfully. How about where we live? Ruka asked. Where is that? Rin questioned the younger twin. Soon after, they have arrived at Rua and Ruka's penthouse atop a building looking over the city. Yugo and Rin were impressed with their living quarters, and were simply amazed when they stepped out onto a large open area with a big pool. The view was spectacular. Wow! You kids get to live all the way up here? And you have a pool? I'm so freaking jealous. In our world, only someone living in the tops can get a place like this. Yugo stated. You can see everything from up here. You two are so lucky. Rin added. Say, where are your parents? She asked the twins. They're busy working. It's mostly just the two of us. Ruka explained. Really? You two are by yourselves most of the day until they come home? Yugo asked, surprised a bit by this. Yeah, but it's no big deal. We still hang out with our friends when we're not in school. Rua said in defense. Sounds like you could use some more company. Yusei said while looking at Yugo and Rin. Yeah. Would you guys like to stay here until it's safe for you to go back home? Rua begged. We really wouldn't mind. Ruka insisted. Well, do you think it will be okay with your parents? Rin asked hesitantly. Oh sure. They're good people. We'll just tell them that you're cousins of Yusei that, lost their home in a freak accident and traveled here. We can convince them to let you stay with us until you two get back on your feet. Rua said. That actually does sound pretty convincing. I definitely wouldn't mind hanging out here. What about you, Rin? Yugo asked. Rin still looked unsure. She turned to Yusei, who also agreed with the idea. She didn't want to intrude in their new friend's home. Although, she did admit to herself it would be nice to stay in a place that let you look at the city from up high instead of from down below. Before she could answer. How about we decide with a duel? I win, you and Yugo get to stay here with me and Ruka. You win, we'll find another place for you guys. What do you think? Rua challenged Rin. Rin smiled and nodded. This just might be what she needed. I like that idea. The thing is, I don't have a dual disc. She said embarrassingly. You don't? Rua asked in surprise. Here, Rin, you can borrow mine. Ruka said as she handed the older girl her dual disc. Thank you, Ruka. With both duelists having what they need, they didn't waste any time getting started. Are you ready, Rua? I don't plan on going easy on you. Rin warned as she turned her dual disc on. I can handle anything. Let's do this. Rua replied, his own dual disc on as well. Be careful, Rua. Rin is ruthless when she duels. Yugo warned. He, Yusei, and Ruka then watched the action unfold. Duel. Rin, 4000, Rua, 4000. If you don't mind, I'll go first. Rua declared. Sure, go right ahead. Rin said, wanting to give the kid a chance before she came down hard on him. Thanks. My turn. Droll. Due to hearing that the first player can draw on their first turn in this world, Rin was not surprised. After hearing Yugo's warning, Rua wanted to be prepared for what Rin might have in store for him. Here I go. First, I summon the tuner monster, Deformer Lighten. Light, level 1, ATK, 200, Def, 200. Rua's tuner looked like a blue robot with a big light in its chest. I set one card face down and end my turn. My turn. Droll. Rin was going to make good on her word about not taking it easy on her opponent. I also summon a tuner monster, Wind Witch, Glass Bell. Wind, level 4, ATK, 1500, Def, 1500. Rin's tuner was a cute green-haired witch in blue and pink clothes riding on a glass broomstick with a colorful bell in the place of tail twigs. I activate Glass Bell's monster effect. When Glass Bell is normal or special summoned, I can take a Wind Witch monster from my deck and add it to my hand. I add Wind Witch, Ice Bell to my hand. Now I play Chime of the Wind. This magic card lets me reveal a level 4 or lower Wind Witch in my hand, and I can special summon a copy of that monster from my deck to my field. There's only one monster she could, and would, choose. I feel bad for Rua already. Yugo muttered as Rin's play continued. I reveal the Ice Bell I just added to my hand and special summon a copy of it from my deck. Wind, level 3, ATK, 1000, Def, 1000. Rin's new monster resembled her tuner, only with long blue and purple hair. Now I activate Ice Bell's monster effect. Once per turn, when Ice Bell has been normal or special summoned this turn, I can inflict 500 points of damage to you. Ice Bell pointed her wand at Rua, intending to damage him with an ice blast. That's not gonna work. I activate Lighten's monster effect. While he is in attack mode, all effect damage to me is redirected at you. Rua revealed as his tuner used its big flashlight to reflect Ice Bell's blast. What? Rin was hit from the damage intended for her opponent. Rin, 4000 to 500 equals 3500. That was a good move from Rua. Ruka noted. Not bad. Usually it's Rin that deals damage first. It's part of her style. I didn't think Rua would be expecting that. Yugo said, sounding impressed. Rin has never dueled against a signer. Yusei said. While he no doubted that Rin would be a tough opponent, he was also confident Rua would be able to hold his own against her. So his monster protects him from all damaging effects while in attack mode. That's a bit of a problem. Thankfully it's very weak. Rin thought, knowing what she should do next. Not too shabby Rua, but don't cocky. I am now tuning my level 3 Ice Bell to my level 4 Glass Bell. Midwinter Wind. Make ice and snow my power and blow through. Synchro Summon. Appear. Level 7. Wind Witch Winter Bell. Wind, level 7, ATK, 2400, Def, 2000. Rin's ace monster took the appearance of a blue and green armored witch with light blue wings. Battle. Wind Witch Winter Bell, attack Deformer Lighten. Blizzard Gust. Trap card open, Deform. When a Deformer monster is being targeted for an attack, I can not only negate the attack, but I can also change its battle position. Lighten now switches to defense mode. Rin cursed under her breath when her monster attack also failed. You're better than I thought, Rua. But I'm nowhere near throwing in the towel. I set 3 cards face down and end my turn. Rin said to the younger boy, who blushed from her praise. I'm not expecting you to. My turn. Droll. Rua hoped this next move will get him the win. I switch Lighten back in attack mode, then I summon another tuner monster called Deformer Scopen. Light, level 3, ATK, 800, def, 1400, a monster resembling a black microscope in robot form now stood next to its fellow tuner. Why would Rua summon two tuners? Rin asked herself. Usually only one tuner was necessary for a synchro summon, so why more than one? She thought maybe Rua still needed Lighten's effect to protect his life points. Now I activate Scopen's effect. Once per turn, when it is in attack mode, I can special summon a level 4 deformer from my hand to my field, but that deformer will be destroyed during the end phase. I special summon Deformer Vidian. Light, level 4, ADK, 1000, def, 1000, Rua's third monster looked like a black and gray video camera as a robot. Now I'm tuning my level 4 Vidian to my level 3 Scopen. Docking strength with courage to protect the world's peace. Synchro Summon. Envoy of Love and Justice, Power Tool Dragon. Earth, level 7, ATK, 2300, def, 2500. Rua's synchro monster was a yellow mechanical dragon equipped with power tools. Although Rua's new monster was still weaker than her own, she suspected he would power it up somehow. She wasn't going to let him get the upper hand just like that. If you thought you were about to take down my monster, think again. Trap card open, Lost Wind. When my opponent special summons a monster to their field, that monster's effects are negated and its attack power is cut in half. Power Tool Dragon's ATK, 2300 divided by 2 is equal to 1150. Now Rin's getting serious. Yugo commented. Next I play another trap, Wind Cut. When I have a Wind Witch monster on my field, I can negate the effects of another monster on your field and inflict damage to you equal to the total attack points of all Wind Witch monsters in my graveyard. Now your Lighten can't protect you from effect damage anymore. Oh. Gah. Rua grunted as he endured a wind that took a big chunk out of his life points. Blast Bell had 1500 attack points, and Ice Bell had 1000. The total damage Rua would now receive. Yusei started. Is 2500. Ruka finished, now worried for her brother. Rua, 4000 to 2500 equals 1500. Rua learned that Rin's dueling style was ruthless, but he obviously didn't think it would be this much. Wow, Rin. You're tough. Guess I really can't hold back now. Rin smirked. A little too late for that. I've already weakened your ace monster. To her astonishment, Rua laughed a little. You sure? He asked. Of course I am. Your Power Tool Dragon is now half as strong as it used to be. I hate to break it to you, but Power Tool Dragon is literally a shell of its true self. Its true self? Rin asked, startled. Yeah. I'll show you right now. I'm tuning my level 7 Power Tool Dragon to my level 1 Deformer Lighten. The courage and power to protect the future of the planet is a revolution. Synchro Summon. Evolve, Lightstream Dragon. Earth, level 8, ATK, 2900, def, 2400. Rua's true ace was dark orange and brown dragon with 4 wings, a blade and a red shield on its left arm. Rin was amazed. That's Rua's real ace monster? She said to herself in awe. Cool. Yugo exclaimed. Lightstream Dragon's monster effect activates. When it is synchro summoned, all players' life points that are below 2000 are raised to 2000. Rua declared as his life points went up from 1500 to 2000. Rua, 2000. He recovered some of his life points and his new dragon is much stronger than Winter Bell. I need to take care of this now. I activate the effect of Wind Cut. By banishing it from my graveyard when my opponent special summons a monster, I can inflict damage to you equal to that monster's attack points. It's over now, Rua. Rin declared, believing the duel was hers. Only, it wasn't. No, it's not. Lightstream Dragon can negate all effect damage while on the field. Rua revealed, stopping Rin again. Excuse me? Rin shouted in disbelief. Honestly, Rin picked the wrong person to duel. Ruka said. True. Rin's strategy involves inflicting lots of effect damage to the opponent, while Rua's is more about protecting his life points. Yusei added. Damn. Yugo said, now feeling sorry for his childhood friend. Rin thought the same thing herself. I definitely wasn't expecting this. That kid is really good. She thought while having a small smile. Now I equip Lifestream with Megamorph. Since my life points are lower than yours, my dragon's attack power is doubled. Rua said as his dragon grew stronger. Lifestream Dragon's ATK, 2900 times 2 is equal to 5800. He's making it so much stronger. This means, he's going to end the duel with his attack. Yugo realized. If he attacks now, Rin would still have 100 life points left. He needs to raise Lifestream's attack points a little more. Ruka thought. Next I equip Lifestream Dragon with Pain to Power. And finally, I play Monster Reborn to bring back my Deformer Vidian. Rua's video camera monster returned to stand beside his dragon. Battle. Deformer Vidian, attack Wind Witch, Winter Bell. Both Rin and Yugo were surprised by this move. What's that kid thinking? His monster is too weak. It's gonna get destroyed and Rua will take a lot of damage. Yugo shouted. Why would Rua do that? Rin asked herself, also very confused. As soon as Vidian failed to destroy its target, it got destroyed itself and Rua took some damage as a result. 2400 minus 1000 is equal to 1400. Rua, 2000 minus 1400 is equal to 600. Now the effective Pain to Power activates. The monster equipped with it gains attack points equal to the battle damage I take from battles this turn involving my other monsters. Rua declared, shocking the Synchro pair even more. Lifestream Dragon's ATK, 5800 plus 1400 is equal to 7200. Oh man! Rin's done for. Yugo said, certain his friend would lose now. Rin shook her head while still smiling. Looks like I now have an excuse for Yugo and I to stay in this place. I'm glad it worked out like this, though. Rin knew her last face-down card would be useless, thanks to Lifestream Dragon's ability to negate all effect damage. Maybe next time, she said to herself before she faced her opponent. Go on. Finish this, Rua. Rua nodded. Lifestream Dragon, attack Wind Witch, Winter Bell. Life's Howl. With one colorful blast from Rua's dragon, Winter Bell was destroyed and the duel was over. Rin, 0. The girl may have lost, but she didn't actually feel like she had. After she handed Ruka back her duel disc, Rin shook Rua's hand. Well Rua, I guess Yugo and I are staying here for a while. I bet you're happy about that, huh? Yeah, I am. The boy said happily. Rin laughed. Me too. Ruka added. Yes. Living here is going to be so sweet. Ha ha ha. Yugo yelled cheerfully as he ran up to Rin and hugged her. Unfortunately, as he grabbed hold of Rin, he slipped on a puddle and both of them fell into the pool with a loud splash. The pair popped up again, gasping for air. Rin did not look happy as she gave Yugo a death glare. You dummy! Why did you do that? I wasn't dressed to go swimming. She yelled. Yugo cringed. It was an accident. I didn't mean for us to fall in like that. I'm sorry. Any further apologizing never came as Rin forced Yugo's head underwater for several seconds. When he came up, the boy wanted payback. Alright Rin, you've asked for it. He then gave her a huge splash in the face, which Rin immediately retaliated with. Soon they laughed as their splash war raged on. Yusei and Ruka smiled to see the two enjoying themselves, while Rua saw how happy Rin was having fun with Yugo. He thought maybe they really were meant for each other, even if they don't know it yet. So Yusei, these are the two you told me about before? Yugo and Rin stopped when they heard a new voice speaking to Yusei. As they looked to see who had arrived, the pair immediately wished they weren't caught in the middle of splashing each other like little children. Both of them looked so mortified that it was laughable. Holy crap! Rin is that? Yugo sputtered. He couldn't believe who was now standing with Yusei, Rua, and Ruka. I don't believe it. Rin squeaked in complete disbelief. There, looking down at Yugo and Rin from the edge of the pool, arms crossed with a look that said he wasn't impressed with the display, was the very person they wanted to one day face in their world, and the one person they wished had not caught them in their position. It was Jack Atlas. Chapter 12, 5DS, Part 2. Jack Atlas, a tall young man with spiked-up blonde hair and wearing white and gray riding clothes, observed Yugo and Rin's childish behavior with an apparent look of disapproval. He showed up at the penthouse just in time to see the two teens fall into the pool and started splashing one another. He didn't show it, but he was taking great pleasure at their reaction from seeing him. As if the water had suddenly grown too hot, Yugo and Rin scrambled out of the pool and then bowed before the man they idolized, dripping wet and eyes closed. Jack Atlas. King of Writing Duels. We, that is Yugo and I, are so honored to meet you, sir. Rin said in a rushed greeting, still visibly embarrassed. Why yeah. Rin and I, see, the thing is, we never thought we'd meet you, like this. This is definitely not how we expected to. Yugo followed, sounding like a boy caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Enough. Stand up straight, both of you. Jack commanded. Yes, sir. At his word, the two straightened themselves up, eyes open, and both still scared out of their skins and soaked. Yusei and the twins stayed back and didn't say anything as they watched the fun. Jack then started walking around Yugo and Rin, still scrutinizing the pair. Neither one of them dared to speak but gulped as they followed the man with their fearful eyes. Jack stopped in front of them, his expression not changing in the slightest. Yugo and Rin, Yusei has informed me about you two and your situation. First off, let me make something perfectly clear. While we have many similarities, I am not the Jack Atlas of your world. However, that does not change the fact that you are in the presence of the king. As such, you will do your very best to show the utmost respect to that king. Is that understood? He ordered. Yes, sir. Said the flustered teens again. After a long moment of silence, Jack now smiled, secretly enjoying watching them squirm. When he spoke, he sounded much calmer. Very good. Now then, any questions? He asked. Rin was the first to speak up, still sounding a bit squeaky. I have a question, sir. Rin said, her voice trembling. Ask Rin. Jack simply said. How do you and Yusei know each other? She barely managed to say. Instead of answering, Jack pulled up the sleeve of his right arm and showed it to the duo. Yugo and Rin gasped. It was a dragon birthmark, like the ones Yusei and the others had. In Jack's case, it appeared to be a pair of dragon wings. As you can see, I also bear a Signer's birthmark. Like Yusei, Crow, Aki, Rua, and Ruka, I too was chosen by the Crimson Dragon to help protect the world from great evil. The moment Yusei returned here with the two of you, my mark alerted me and I immediately made my way back here. I've only just arrived to see you both, in the water. Jack said the last bit in a low tone, further embarrassing the two. Another moment of uncomfortable silence followed before Yugo finally had the nerve to talk. Mr. King, Jack, he started, rather badly. Boy! You will address me as either Jack or Sir. Got that? He shouted again. Why yes, sir. Anyway, about my question. Yugo started again, but stopped. Yes? Jack asked impatiently. Yugo gulped once more. He resumed talking. Jack Atlas. I wanted to duel you, that is, the you in our world, for a long time. So, what I want to know is, Yugo took a deep breath and let it out. Can we, please have a duel? Rin gasped at Yugo. She didn't think he'd actually dare challenge Jack Atlas like this. He may not be the one they admired, but he had to still be the best here. She wanted to berate him for it, but she didn't dare do so with Jack around. As for Jack himself, he narrowed his eyes and walked closer to Yugo until he was right in front of him only. Yugo felt like he shrunk under the older man's gaze. So, you wish to duel me, Yugo? He asked softly, making the boy sweat. Yes, sir, I do. Yugo answered, trying to keep his voice steady. Jack said nothing, still staring at Yugo. He appeared to be sizing him up. Then, to the great surprise of Yugo and Rin, Jack laughed. The two looked confused. When he ceased laughing a moment later, he pointed at himself. I, Jack Atlas, don't accept challenges from just anyone. I only duel those I judge to be worth my time, and I would prefer them to be more on the dry side. Jack emphasized, seeing water still dripping from Yugo's hair and clothes. This made Yugo grimace a bit. He was starting to think he won't get the chance, when. However, Jack continued. If you truly wish to face me in a duel, then you must prove yourself. How? I'll do anything. Yugo said, now starting to feel hopeful. You do possess your own D-wheel, do you not? Jack questioned. Yes, sir, I do. Yugo answered. Jack then smirked. Then I want you to duel my fellow signer, Crow Hogan. And not just any duel, but a riding duel. If you can best him, then I might consider dueling against you. If not, I would not want to waste any more of my precious time with someone who thinks he has what it takes to take on the king. Especially when that someone doesn't have the common sense to wear dry clothes in my presence. Do you accept these terms, boy? He demanded. Yugo couldn't believe his luck. An opportunity to prove himself to duel the riding duel king himself. He just had to beat Crow, which soon became a dilemma. He and Crow had just started becoming friends, and now Jack Atlas wanted the two of them to go head-to-head. Still, he couldn't let this pass up. Hell yes. Yes, I accept, sir. Yugo corrected himself after the stern look Jack gave him. The older duelist nodded after a moment. Very well, then. Yusei will help prepare you for the upcoming duel. I will go and tell Crow to also get ready. The match will begin in 2 hours. Do not be late. Jack said while walking away. Oh, trust me, Jack. I'll be there. You won't be sorry. Yugo shouted at the man. But before I leave, I want a quick word with you, Yusei. Jack said just before he went inside. Of course. Yusei said as he followed him. As soon as they were inside, Rin let out a breath of relief, while Yugo shouted for joy. Yes. Did you hear that, Rin? I have a chance to duel Jack Atlas. Isn't that awesome? Instead of answering, Rin frowned at him. What? Yugo, I honestly can't believe you would challenge him like that. I'm even more surprised he'd actually give you that chance. We weren't exactly expecting him to drop in on us like that. Which reminds me. Rin then rounded on the twins, who backed up a little. You both knew about Jack Atlas, didn't you? You two, Yusei, Crow, and Aki all knew and none of you told us. Rin then remembered something. Last night, Yusei said Yugo had been sleeping in Jack's room. She had thought it was some other guy named Jack at the time. She never would have thought he meant the king's room. Look, Rin, Jack made us all swear not to say anything to you and Yugo until he met you both himself. It wasn't our idea. Rui explained nervously. It's the truth. Please, calm down, Rin. Ruka begged, also cowering from the older girl's anger. Eventually, Rin did settle down before turning back to Yugo. Aren't you upset about this? She demanded. Yugo shrugged. Not really. I mean, sure, I didn't think Yusei and his friends were also buddies with Jack Atlas. Hell, I don't even know how there could be more than one Jack in existence. But so what? It doesn't change the fact that I might duel him soon, he said with excitement. You do know that you have to beat Crow first, don't you? She asked. Yeah, I know. Yugo replied. Then you need to take this more seriously. If dueling Rua has taught me one thing, it's that you should never underestimate a signer. Crow may be as strong as Yusei. She warned. Who said I wasn't taking this seriously? Trust me, Rin, I've got this. His friend sighed in defeat while shaking her head. When both adult signers were alone and out of sight, Jack laughed. How do you think I did out there? Jack asked, now sounding much more relaxed than he did outside. I think you gave Yugo and Rin quite a scare. Yusei said, smiling a little. Jack looked proud of himself for the performance he just gave. As they should be, considering who stood towering over them. Jack then smiled at his rival and friend. I had a damn good time out there intimidating those kids. Thanks for not telling them about me, and for letting me have some fun. He said sincerely. Sure, although you could have gone a little softer on Yugo when you kept bringing up how soaking wet he was. Yusei said. Jack then grunted, ignoring that last part. What about you? You sure you don't want to tell them that? Jack started. There's no need for them to know. I never really cared about taking your title as king at the Fortune Cup. It will be fine that they think you are the king here. Yusei said, sounding humble. Jack sighed as he patted Yusei's shoulder. Yusei Fudo, the humblest person I know. With that, Jack headed out to inform Crow about his upcoming duel with Yugo. 2 hours later, everyone met at a basic-looking racing track. Yugo and Rin, in dry clothes now, arrived just in time with Yusei, Rua, and Ruka accompanying them. At the starting line stood Jack and Crow, the latter prepping his D-wheel for the riding duel. Aki was also there, having heard of the duel from Ruka. She sat in the stands, waving at Yugo's group with a smile. So Yugo, you have arrived. Jack said. Yugo smiled. That's right, Jack. I told you I would be. The older duelist snorted. Try to impress me. Jack said boringly as he stood aside, allowing the boy to get his D-wheel in position next to Crow's. Before he did so, he gave a thumbs up to Rin and the others. Wish me luck, he said before proceeding out onto the track. Good luck, Yugo. Rin shouted, though she still felt apprehensive about this. Yugo will do fine, Yusei assured her. Rin nodded, but still worried. Do your best, Yugo. Ruka shouted. Show Crow what you're made of, Rua added. Jack then sat to Yusei's left, while Aki was on the right. Rin and the twins were all sitting on Aki's right. Rin still felt slightly nervous that Jack sat so close. I've told Crow not to hold back against the boy. If Yugo really does want to face me, he'll have to do the same, Jack said. Yugo is a talented riding duelist. I'm sure he'll surprise you, Yusei said. I can't wait to see what he can do, Aki replied. Jack said nothing as he waited for the match to start. Down at the track, Yugo and Crow greeted one another with a fist bump. Hey Yugo! You ready for this? Crow asked with a big smile. Hell yeah, I am. Even with the changes to my deck, I'm confident I can kick your ass, Yugo replied confidently. Crow laughed. Big talk, kid. Let's see if you have the skills to back it up. Yugo smirked as he and Crow mounted their D-wheels. As they looked over their controls one final time, Yugo thought back to the said changes to his deck. Flashback. After taking a shower and putting on their now dry clothes, Yugo and Rin began with the former's preparations for the upcoming duel with Crow. After looking over his D-wheel, Yugo felt nothing could go wrong. That is, until Yusei gave a very unexpected suggestion. Your D-wheel may be in good condition, but you will need to make some adjustments to your deck. What do you mean adjustments? My deck is fine the way it is. Yugo argued. Maybe for riding duels in your world, but not here. Yusei said, confusing the teens. Wait, are you saying riding duels in your world are different than the ones in ours? Rin asked. Yusei nodded. Yes Rin, they are. In this world, when a riding duel takes place, a field spell called Speed World activates. Recently, it has been upgraded to Speed World 2. In both cases, at the start of each turn, aside from the first turn of the duel, both duelists gain a speed counter. The maximum amount of speed counters any duelist can have is 12. Previously, you lose speed counters depending on the damage you take. With the upgrade to Speed World 2, that is no longer an issue. These speed counters are used to activate a unique type of magic card exclusively for riding duels, called speed spells. You can only use certain speed spells depending on the number of speed counters you have. Speed World 2 has its own effects, which also need the right number of speed counters to use. Yusei explained. Both Yugo and Rin stared wide-eyed from the new details. Wow! That does make riding duels here much more challenging. Rin said, dumbfounded. Sure does. But I can still use my regular magic cards, can't I? Yugo asked, still feeling his deck didn't need any changes. Yusei once again proved how wrong he was. Technically you could, but I would not advise it. Speed World 2 has a huge drawback. If at any point a duelist uses a non-speed spell, that duelist would take 2,000 points of damage. 2,000? The pair shouted in shock. They could not believe this part. You're kidding? Rin yelled in disbelief. That's like half your life points. Yugo added, now slightly paled. Exactly why you need to change your deck, so that you won't have to deal with that drawback. Riding duelists make sure they have no regular magic cards to avoid this issue. Because of the limited use of speed spells, riding duelists tend to rely more on their monsters and traps. You should too. Yusei advised. Yugo hung over and sighed loudly. Damn it. Just when I was starting to like this new world. He complained. I don't quite agree with it either, but we have to adjust if we're going to be staying here for a while. So suck it up. Rin said, quickly sounding like her old self. With that, Yugo agreed and began the necessary changes to both survive and win in the upcoming duel. Flashback end. Yugo may not like the new speed spell rule, actually, he outright hated it, but he wasn't going to let that stop him. He was going to prove to Jack Atlas that he was a duelist worth his attention. He and Crow then put on their helmets and revved their D-wheels to ride. Speed World 2 set on. Said both duelists as their D-wheels took off, beginning the riding duel. Riding duel, acceleration. Yugo, 4,000, speed counters, 0, Crow, 4,000, speed counters, 0. The one to reaches the corner first gets the first turn. Crow said as the two speeded to the first corner of the track. That'll be me. Yugo declared, accepting the challenge. They almost seemed neck to neck, with neither one giving an inch. When at last they reached it. Yes. The first turn is mine. Yugo cheered as he turned just before Crow, who seemed momentarily impressed by the speed of Yugo's D-wheel. All right, Yugo. Rin cheered, happy her friend got to go first. Here I go. My turn. Droll Yugo saw a way to get an early lead. First, since I have no monsters on my field, I special summon Speedroid Begomax from my hand. Wind, level 3, ATK, 1200, Def, 600, Yugo's monster looked like a dark pink spinning top with two razor-sharp blades at its sides. Next, I summon the tuner monster, Speedroid Triad Dice. Wind, level 3, ATK, 300, def, 1500, Yugo's tuner appeared to be a dark pyramid-shaped dice with an eye each side and a spark at each of its tips. Getting serious from the get-go, huh? Crow said to himself. Now I'm tuning my level 3 Vagomax to my level 3 Triad Dice. Magical sword with the form of a cross. Use your power to rend all enemies. Synchro summon. Appear now. Level 6. High-speed droid magical sword Dama. Wind, level 6, ATK, 2200, def, 1600, Yugo's synchro monster was a dark blue high-tech chariot with thick armor. Now I activate magical sword Dama's monster effect. Once per turn, I can banish one speedroid monster from my graveyard to inflict 500 points of damage to you. I banish speedroid Vagomax. Crow grunted as he took the unexpected, but low, damage. Crow, 4,000 to 500 equals 3,500. I set one card face down and end my turn. Alright Crow, show me what you got. Yugo challenged. He damaged Crow already. Ruka said, impressed. Yeah. Rua added. Not bad for a first move. Aki commented. That is a good start, but the duel is just beginning. Yusei replied. Jack didn't comment as he watched the duel unfold. Crow smirked from Yugo's words. Be careful what you wish for. My turn. Drawl. Yugo, 1 speed counter, Crow, 1 speed counter. Okay, I summon the tuner monster, Black Feather, Kochi the Daybreak. Dark, level 4, ATK, 700, def, 1500, opposing Yugo's monsters was a tall black-feathered crow. Then I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Yugo was confused by this. That's all? He summoned a tuner but didn't try to synchro summon? He's gotta be up to something. Let's find out what. My turn. Drawl. Yugo, 2 speed counters, Crow, 2 speed counters. Let's do this. Magical Sword Dama, attack Kochi the Daybreak. Yugo watched his monster soar forward, hoping to take down Crow's bird monster. Not gonna happen. Trap card open, Black Sonic. When a black feather monster I control is being attacked by an opponent's monster, I can banish all attack mode monsters from your field. So say goodbye to your high-tech toy, Yugo. Crow countered as Yugo's synchro monster vanishing from sight. Damn! Yugo cursed. Burning Sonic could have saved my monster from Crow's trap if it tried to destroy it. But with Magical Sword Dama being banished instead, I can't do squat. Gore, I end my turn. Yugo said reluctantly. So far I'm not impressed. Jack said. He allowed his synchro monster to be banished and doesn't retaliate. He better shape up if he hopes to duel me. He will. Yusei said with confidence. I have no intention of letting you win, Yugo. Summoning your ace from the start wasn't a very smart move on your part. Crow taunted. Instead of arguing more, Yugo smirked. What's with the look? Crow asked. You haven't seen my ace yet. Yugo said, surprising the other duelist. He has something even stronger? Rua asked Yusei, but he didn't answer. Jack waited to see Yugo's true ace and what it was capable of. Crow seemed more intrigued now. Is that right? Can't wait to see it then. My turn. Drawl Crow declared. Yugo, 3 speed counters, Crow, 3 speed counters. I summon Black Feather, Kalit the Moon Shadow. Dark, level 3, ATK, 1400, def, 1000, a monster resembling a gray bird with a head of yellow feathers appeared beside Kochi. I couldn't synchro summon last turn because Kochi's effect wouldn't let me use it as a synchro material on the turn it was summoned. Now I can bring this bad boy out. I'm tuning my level 3 Kalit to my level 4 Kochi. Dark gales, become the wings which will soar to the heavens. Synchro Summon. Black Feather Armored Wing. Dark, Level 7, ATK 2500, Def 1500, Crow's Synchro Monster appeared to be a one-eyed bird warrior wearing thick black and orange armor. Man, talk about an well-armored monster. That's gotta be his ace. Yugo said softly. Here I come, Yugo. Battle. Armored Wing, Direct Attack. Armored Wing soared toward Yugo, fist rearing to punch it out. Like I'd let you. I activate the effective Triad dice from my graveyard. When my opponent's monster launches an attack, I can banish Triad dice to negate the attack. A phantom version of Yugo's tuner appeared and blocked Armored Wing's assault. Not too shabby. I end my turn. Crow complimented. He managed to save himself from heavy damage. Aki noted. Yugo can be dense sometimes, but not that dense. Rin said. As Yugo and Crow drove past the starting line again, she saw the hint of excitement on her friend's face. The same excitement she too felt when he was about to turn the tables in a duel. Get ready, Crow. I'm about to take the lead. My turn. Draw. Yugo, for speed counters, Crow, for speed counters. I summon Speedroid Ohajikid. Wind, Level 3, ATK, 1000, Def, 200, Yugo's new monster had the appearance of a toy cowboy with a glowing green disc about to be launched. Speedroid Ohajikid's monster effect activates. When it is normal summon this turn, I can take a tuner monster in your graveyard and use it and Ohajikid for a synchro summon. Say what? Crow yelled in shock. Yugo's using one of Crow's monsters to summon his own? Rua exclaimed. Jack seemed mildly impressed by that move from the boy. Thanks for lending me your tuner monster, Crow. It ain't going to waste. Now I'm tuning my level 3 Ohajikid to your level 4 Kochi the Daybreak. Spread those wondrous and beautiful wings, and strike down your enemies at the speed of light. Synchro Summon. Appear now. Level 7. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Wind, Level 7, ATK, 2500, Def, 2000. Yugo's true ace monster was a white and black strip dragon with pieces of blue armor on its arms, chest, and head. It also sported light green see-through wings. So that's Yugo's real ace monster. It looks so awesome. Rua yelled happily. I really love its wings. Ruka added. So Yugo managed to bring it out. Jack thought upon seeing Clear Wing. He did think it looked intimidating, but he was withholding judgment until he saw the dragon's abilities with his own eyes. That was a cheap move. Using one of my monsters like that. Crow said, greatly irritated. Yugo snickered. Hey, it worked, didn't it? But you won't have to deal with it for the moment. I set one card face down and end my turn. Yugo said as he finished his move. He didn't attack. Rua said. Yugo probably didn't want to make the same mistake twice. Aki said. Jack nodded in agreement. Alright Yugo, it's payback time. My turn. Droll Crow said as he began his next turn. Yugo, 5 speed counters, Crow, 5 speed counters. First up, I summon Black Feather, Feign the Iron Chain. Dark, Level 2, ATK, 500, Def, 800, a light black bird-like ninja appeared beside Armored Wing. Then I play my trap, Dust Tornado. This not only destroys one magic or trap card on your field, but I can also set one of my own. Eat this. Crow said with satisfaction as he destroyed one of Yugo's facedown card and set his own card. Crap! Not my burning Sonic. Yugo complained, losing the very trap card he thought of earlier. What goes around, comes around. Battle! Armored Wing, attack Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Black Hurricane. Crow declared, his monster making a beeline for Yugo's dragon. Trap card open, reinforcements. With this, Clear Wing gains 500 attack points until the end phase. Yugo countered. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 2500 plus 500 is equal to 3000. This didn't seem to bother Crow as his armored wings struck Clear Wing and was not destroyed. This confused Rin, who also noticed Crow's life points didn't decrease from the failed attack. Why didn't Crow lose his monster and take damage? She asked herself. Yugo thought the same thing, just as stumped as his childhood friend. What gives? How come nothing's happened to you? Yugo questioned heatedly. Take a closer look at your monster, Crow said triumphantly. As he did, he saw something that wasn't there before. Right where Armored Wing had hit Clear Wing, a big thorn was wedged inside. What the hell's that? Yugo questioned, surprised. Blackfeather Armored Wing can't be destroyed by battle, and I take no damage from battles involving it. Instead, it leaves a wedge counter into the monster it just attacked. By removing said wedge counter, that monster's attack and defense points become 0 until the end phase. Your big tough dragon ain't so tough now, Crow said as he removed the wedge counter. However, things did not go as he expected. Sorry Crow, but the joke's on you. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's monster effect activates. Once per turn, when either a level 5 or higher monster activates that effect on the field, or a monster effect activates that targets a level 5 or higher monster or monsters, Clear Wing can negate the effect and destroy that monster. Dichroic Mirror. What? Crow shouted. He could nothing as his nearly indestructible monster was disintegrated by Clear Wing's brightly glowing wings. Clear Wing has one more surprise. Until the end phase, my dragon gains the attack points of the monster it destroyed by its effect. Yugo revealed as his dragon grew even stronger. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 3000 plus 2500 is equal to 5500. Aside from Yusei and Rin, everyone was totally blown away. Even Jack couldn't hide his amazement. Yugo's dragon had an effect like that? Aki said, dumbstruck. Oh man, if I had dueled him instead of Rin, I would have been toast. Rua said as he sweated a bit. Maybe. Rin said teasingly. Damn it. Crow cursed by his setback. Good thing I'm prepared. I activate the effect of the tuner monster, Blackfeather Kagurashi the Wanderer, in my hand. When a Blackfeather monster I control is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I can special summon it. Dark, level 6, ATK, 2300, Def, 1600, a new humanoid bird warrior appeared, covered in feathers of dark blue and brown. You can't stop this one, Yugo. Fane can attack you directly. Go peck him. Crow commanded as the bird ninja jumped over Clear Wing and stuck Yugo, causing him to slow down a bit. Yugo, 4000 to 500 equals 3500. Oh, and if you think you can have your dragon strike back on your next turn, you can forget it. When Fane attacks directly and inflicts battle damage to you, I can switch an attack mode monster of yours and switch it to defense mode. Plus, that monster's position can't be changed until the end phase of my next turn. I switch Clear Wing Synchro Dragon into defense mode, Crow declared. Damn him. Yugo said, annoyed he won't be able to attack with his dragon for a while. One more thing. You're not the only one with a dragon as an ace. I'm tuning my level 2 Fane to my level 6 Kagurashi. Darken Gales, reveal hidden wishes on your wings. Synchro Summon. Soar, Blackfeather Dragon. Dark, level 8, ATK, 2800, Def, 1600, Crow's dragon resembled a dragon-like blackbird with the head of a bird and pale wings. With that, I end my turn. Now your Clear Wing's attack power returns to normal. He added as Yugo's monster's attack points return to 2500. Crow has a dragon too? And it's stronger than Yugo's. Rin exclaimed. Yes, and like Clear Wing, Blackfeather Dragon also has a powerful effect. If you're lucky, you just might see it. Jack said as he continued watching the writing duel, which kept heating up. Damn! Crow is a strong duelist all right. I'll bet his dragon is just as tough. Until I can attack with clear wing, I'll have to do what I can. Yugo thought before beginning his next turn. I can do more than just attack with monsters, you know. My turn. Draw. Yugo, 6 speed counters, Crow, 6 speed counters. Yes. I've been waiting to use one of these. I activate speed spell, Speed Demon. When I have 3 or more speed counters, I can inflict 1000 points of damage to you. This is for dissing clear wing. Yugo declared, thinking he got a hit on Crow. The Black Rider proved otherwise. Think again. I activate Blackfeather Dragon's monster effect. When I'm about to receive damage from a direct attack or card effect, I can negate the damage by placing a Blackfeather counter on my dragon. For each counter, though, Blackfeather Dragon loses 700 attack points. Damage drain. As it did, a portion of the dragon's wings turned black and red. Blackfeather Dragon's ATK, 2800 to 700 equals 2100. Crow's dragon can negate damage? Ring gasped. This could definitely be a problem. Crap. So I can't damage him with card effects either? Damn it. I end my turn. Yugo said with great reluctance. I figured as much. My turn. Droll Crow said cockily as he started his next turn. Yugo, 7 speed counters, Crow, 7 speed counters. Unlike you, I'm definitely going to deal you some damage. I activate the effective speed whirl too. By removing 4 of my speed counters, I can inflict 800 points of damage to you for each speed spell in my hand. I have speed spell, Angel Baton in my hand, which means your life points just took an 800 point drop. Crow declared. Crow, 3 speed counters. Are you kidding? Yugo complained incredulously as he took damage, further infuriated that he failed to do the same to Crow last turn. Yugo, 3500 to 800 equals 2700. Sorry Yugo, but there's no mercy from Crow the Bullet. I end my turn. Crow said. Wait. How come Crow didn't attack Clear Wing? Even though Blackfeather Dragon is weaker now, it could still destroy Yugo's dragon while it is in defense mode. So why didn't he? Rua asked. He must be waiting for the right time to make his attack. Aki guessed. At this point, Rin stood up in the stands and began shouting at Yugo. Come on Yugo. You're not going to take crap from him like this, are you? Fight back and win. Prove that you can go toe-to-toe with Jack Atlas. Jack was amused by the girl's spirit. Yugo heard her and gave her a 2-finger salute. You got it, Rin. I won't let you down. My turn. Drawl. Yugo, 8 speed counters, Crow, for speed counters. Okay, maybe this will work. First, I switch Clear Wing Synchro Dragon back into attack mode. Next I activate Speed Spell, Synchro Return. When I have 5 or more speed counters, if I have a Synchro monster banished, I can bring that monster back to my field until the end phase. Come back to me, High-Speed Magical Sword Dama. Yugo's first Synchro came back into the fray. That's the ticket. Rin cheered. I could attack with Clear Wing now, but something's bothering me. Blackfeather Dragon can negate damage, but in the process it loses attack power by placing a counter on the damn thing. Armored Wing also had an effect involving counters, and it would have been bad for me if Clear Wing's own effect didn't kick in. That monster tried to take all of my dragon's power by removing its wedge counter from it. Could Crow's dragon have a similar effect? And if it does, Yugo did the only move he could. Magical Sword Dama, attack Blackfeather Dragon. He's attacking with his weaker monster? Aki asked. Yusei had an idea why as the attack proceeded. Trap card open, Black Wing. When an opponent's monster attacks, I can banish one black feather monster from my graveyard to negate not just that attack, but attacks from all your monsters that have 2,000 or more attack points this turn. I banish my Fang. Crow declared, using his destroyed monster to stop Yugo's attack. Darn it! He stopped Yugo's attacks again. Rin complained. Come on! Don't you ever run out of tricks? Yugo yelled annoyingly. Crow snickered. What can I say? I'm a tricky guy. What else have you got? Yugo groaned inwardly. He figured Crow's face-down card could stop Dama's attack, but preventing Clear Wing from also attacking was something he didn't expect. Still, there was one thing he hadn't tried yet. I activate Speed World 2's effect. By removing 7 speed counters, I can draw one more card. Draw! Upon seeing the drawn card, Yugo saw hope for victory and proving he would be worthy of dueling Jack Atlas. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. During the end phase, Magical Sword Dama is banished again due to Synchro Return's effect. He admitted as his first Synchro monster vanished once again. Yugo, 1 speed counter. Jack was starting to feel Yugo may not win after all if he didn't do something soon. Still, if what he heard from Yusei was true, Yugo wasn't going to give up just yet. So, he waited. Yugo, please don't give up. Rin prayed in a low voice. Rua saw how much Rin believed in him. The way she looked at him, wanting him to succeed. Crow is tough, but I think Yugo's got a chance. Rin looked down at the boy, surprised by what he said. You do? Aren't you hoping your friend would win? Rua smiled up at her. This time, I'm rooting for the other guy. The boy admitted. He was being sincere. He did hope Yugo would win so that Rin could be happy. And Rua wanted Rin to be happy. Thanks, Rua. The older girl said softly. Rua blushed and looked away. Back in the duel, as the riders of Black and White rode past the starting line once more, both dragons growled at one another. Yugo was frustrated that he couldn't get any damage on Crow. Hopefully, that'll change very soon. Get ready, Yugo. I'm planning to finish things here and now. My turn. Droll Crow announced. Yugo, 2 speed counters, Crow, 5 speed counters. First, I play speed spell, Angel Baton. When I have 2 or more speed counters, I can draw 2 more cards, but then I discard one. Crow then smiled. Time to do the unexpected. Now I play Pot of Greed, which lets me draw another 2 cards. This move surprised both Yugo and Rin. Wait, what? I thought you shouldn't do that? Yugo asked in stunned surprise. Won't Crow take 2,000 points of damage by using a non-speed spell? Rin asked incredulously, but then she remembered the effect of Crow's dragon. Crow smiled at Yugo's reaction. Normally not, but thanks to Blackfeather Dragon, that won't be an issue. Damage drain. Crow explained as his dragon used its effect again to negate the damage. More of the dragon's wings changed color like before. Blackfeather Dragon's ATK, 2,100 to 700 equals 1,400. Now Crow's dragon is even weaker. Rin noted. Next I play Monster Reborn. This will let me bring back one of my monsters. Return, Blackfeather, Armored Wing. Crow's previous Synchro monster returned to stand with its master's ace. Like before, Blackfeather Dragon used its effect once more. At this point, 3/4 of the wings were now black and red. Blackfeather Dragon's ATK, 1,400 to 700 equals 700. Again? But why? Yugo wondered, bewildered by this unexpected tactic. Why make his monster so weak? What is Crow trying to? Rin then gasped and covered her mouth. Oh no! Don't tell me! She came to a shocking realization. This was similar to how Sergei dueled, only it was Crow's monster's attack points that were being lowered, not Crow's own life points. If she was right, then Yugo could be in serious trouble. Battle. Armored Wing, attack Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. The battle that took place before repeated itself. Come on, Yugo. I know you can't risk losing your dragon now, Crow said in his mind. He wasn't disappointed. Trap card open, Clear Shield. If I have Clear Wing Synchro Dragon on my field and is about to be destroyed in battle, I can negate its destruction until the end phase. Yugo declared, protecting his precious dragon from going to the graveyard. Oh, and don't think I've forgotten about your monster's effect, Crow. Yugo, no. Don't use Clear Wing's effect yet. Rin tried, but her friend failed to heed her warning in time. Just like last time, after Armored Wing had placed a wedge counter on Clear Wing and removed it, Clear Wing negated the former monster's effects, destroyed it, and gained all of Armored Wing's attack points. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 2500 plus 2500 is equal to 5000. Crow now smiled broadly. Now I got you. I activate Blackfeather Dragon's monster effect. By removing all the black feather counters, my dragon regains all the power it lost, and weakens your monster's attack power by the same amount. Also, you take damage equal to how much attack power your dragon has lost. Black Burst. Say what? Yugo yelled, horrified by this turn of events. First, he saw Blackfeather Dragon's wings and attack power returning to normal. Next, he witnessed Clear Wing's attack points being lowered, and then took the damage as a result. Blackfeather Dragon's ATK, 2800. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 5000 minus 2100 is equal to 2900. Yugo, 2700 minus 2100 is equal to 600. Now for the finishing touch. I activate 2 copies of Speed Spell, Speed Energy. When I have 2 or more speed counters, I can increase one of my monster's attack points by 200 for each speed counter I have until the end phase. I have 5 speed counters, which means Blackfeather Dragon gains 1000 attack points. However, since I'm playing 2 of these bad boys, that increase is doubled. Crow declared. That means Crow's monster gains 2000 attack points. Rin said in alarm. 200 times 5 is equal to 1000, 1000 times 2 is equal to 2000. Blackfeather Dragon's ATK, 2800 plus 2000 is equal to 4800. 4800 attack points? Yugo blurted out, flabbergasted. You did well, Yugo, but just not well enough. Sorry about this. Blackfeather Dragon, attack Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Noble Stream. Crow's dragon unleashed a powerful dark red blast from its mouth. Even though Yugo's dragon couldn't be destroyed, he would still take the damage, which would be more than enough to finish him off. Yugo! Rin shouted. It looked like Yugo had it. Jack remained impassive as he waited for the final result. That result, however, was not the one Crow had expected. I'm not going down just yet. Trap card open, follow wing. While this is in play, one of my monsters can't be destroyed by battle. Yugo declared, activating the card he drew from the effective Speed Whirl 2. But it already is immune to destruction. Crow pointed out. There's more. If the targeted monster is being attacked by a level 5 or higher monster, I can destroy that monster and give that monster's attack points to mine. Yugo said victoriously. What? Crow, not believing what he had just heard. Everyone watched as Crow's final attack got negated, his ace monster destroyed, and Yugo's monster became insanely stronger. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 2900 plus 4800 is equal to 7700. Yes. I knew you weren't a quitter, Yugo. Rin yelled joyfully. Yusei smiled from this too, along with Jack. Damn it all. I was so close. Fine. I end my turn. Crow said frustratingly as he finally ended his turn. Since his turn was over, Clear Wing's attack point boost from its battle from Armored Wing wore off. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon's ATK, 7,700 to 400 equals 7,300. Alright. Time for me to end this duel. My turn. Droll Yugo said, planning to defeat Crow this time. Yugo, 3 speed counters, Crow, 6 speed counters. This is it, Crow. It's been a blast, but I'm ending this now. Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. Direct Attack. Helldive Whirlwind Slasher. Clear Wing began spinning in the air in a colorful cyclone ring before striking Crow and wiping out his remaining life points. As it did, Crow couldn't help but smile. Crow, 0. Alright, Yugo. Rin cried out as she pumped her fist into the air. Jack nodded while still smiling. Not bad, Yugo. Not bad at all. As he lost, Crow's D-wheel let out a bunch of steam while gradually coming to a stop. Yugo then pulled up next to him. They stared at one another for a moment before Crow grunted with a smile. Nice win, kid. You're definitely good. He admitted, holding his fist. Yugo smiled back as he bumped his fist with Crow's. Thanks. You weren't too bad yourself. Yugo said before both duelists started laughing. Just as they got off their D-wheels and removed their helmets, the group met up with them. Rin gave Yugo a big hug. I knew you could do it, Yugo. Rin said, not noticing Yugo blushing a little. Yeah, well. I wasn't going to let some bird kick my ass, right? Yugo said as he scratched the back of his head. I heard that. Crow muttered, but smiled nonetheless. You're awesome, Yugo, said Rua. You really are. Ruka added. I would have a hard time dueling against someone like you. Aki said admirably. You did well. Yusei said. They then turned to Jack, waiting to hear his words. He appeared expressionless, giving away nothing. Yugo then started to look nervous. Just when the boy thought the older duelist wasn't going to say one word. Perhaps you may give me a challenge after all. Yugo gasped, along with Rin. You mean, we can duel? He asked in a low hopeful voice. Jack smiled. Anytime you wish. Yugo felt himself overflowing with joy and excitement. Yes. Yugo yelled as he jumped in the air, fist held up high. He felt it was a dream come true. Rin. I'm gonna have a duel with Jack Atlas. Can you believe it? Rin had never seen her friend so happy. I know. I can't wait to see it. Rin said happily. Everyone else looked forward to that duel as well. It would definitely be one worth seeing. Their celebration was cut short when they all heard a loud beeping noise nearby. Where's that coming from? Crow asked, looking around. There! Rua shouted as he pointed at Yusei's D-wheel. To Yusei's shock, the screen on his dual disc was flashing red. Yusei became concerned as he ran to his D-wheel and detached his dual disc. The others followed him, wanting to know what was happening. Why's your dual disc doing that? Rin asked. Yusei became more alert. I haven't told you this, Rin, but you are not Leo Akaba's only target. What? Rin asked in shock, along with Yugo. What do you mean she's not the only target? Who else is that scumbag after? Yugo demanded. There are 3 more girls that Leo is trying to get his hands on other than Rin. I have friends that were sent to protect those other girls from him. Now one of them is calling for help. That's what this red light means. Yusei explained. A distress signal. Crow realized. Precisely. I have to see who needs help. When Yusei tapped the red screen, he saw a very familiar object, a pyramid. Yugi. He simply said. What could be happening on his end that he needs the rest of us? Whatever it is, it must be serious. Yusei then turned to the others. Astral's airship will be here to pick me up any minute, he stated, which shocked everyone. You're leaving? But you just got back. Rua complained. I know, but I'm needed. It can't be helped, Rua. Yusei said, sorrow in his voice. Shouldn't we come with you? Aki suggested, but Yusei shook his head. I need you guys to stay here with Yugo and Rin. Also, it won't be just me helping Yugi. Judai, Yuma, and Astral will be there to help too. Yusei said. How long will you be gone this time? Ruka asked. Rin then saw Aki looking very disappointed. I don't know. But I will keep in touch. Yusei then turned to Yugo. Yugo, while you were asleep, I linked up my dual disk with yours. That way, we can communicate even when we're literally worlds apart. Whoa, really? Yugo asked, amazed by this. Yes. The others will have done the same. Just then, a loud boom can be heard from above. When the gang looked up, they became awestruck by the sight of a gigantic unfamiliar ship high above the racing track. Holy cow! Is that the ship you were talking about? A dumbfounded crow asked. Another voice had answered for him. Yusei, are you there? Please respond. Yusei answered at once. I'm here, Astral. What's the situation? We don't know yet. Yuma and I have just received Yugi's distress signal. Did you get it? Astral asked. Just now. Yusei replied. Have you picked up Judai yet? That will be our next stop before we rendezvous with Yugi. Are you ready to depart? Wait. Someone yelled before Yusei could answer. Everyone looked to see it was Aki. She approached Yusei with a worried expression. Are you sure that you'll be all right? Yusei nodded as he smiled. I will be okay, Aki. Hopefully I will be back soon, he said. To everyone's surprise, Aki gave Yusei a quick peck on the cheek. This actually made the young man speechless as he touched the spot Aki kissed him. He was sure to get teased about this later. Get back safe, Yusei, she said before backing away. Rin smiled, knowing she was right about Aki having feelings for the guy. Yusei regained his composure a moment later. Go kick ass, Yusei! Crow shouted. We'll all be rooting for you. Rua added. Please be careful. Ruka said. Yeah, get back soon, buddy. Yugo said with his fist out. Good luck. Rin said. You better come back, Yusei. We still have a score to settle. Jack said. Yusei laughed, knowing what he meant. I will return everyone. Yusei said to his friends before he gave Astral his reply. Astral, I'm ready. Let's get moving. Of course. Stand by. Yusei was then covered with a big green light coming down from the ship. As it turned red, Yusei eyed all his friends. Before he left their sight, he caught one more glimpse of Aki with a hopeful expression. She mouthed something to him that made him even more determined to return to his home. With Yusei on board, the ship flew upward and was gone in a flash. They all looked up, missing their friend already. Yusei is a great guy, isn't he, Aki? Rin asked, turning to the older girl. Aki nodded while still looking up, smiling. Yes, Rin, he is. GTOB continued.